Daniel, welcome to People in Legal.
Hi,
nice to have you here.
Thank you.
How are you finding the conference?
Very good. This is our first time at LawFest.
Yeah.
And it's nice. I feel like it's one of those conferences where everyone introduces everyone to each other. There's a real networking enthusiasm.
Collegial.
Yeah, everyone's helping everyone, not kind of doing their own things.
Yeah.
We're enjoying it. We'll definitely move you back next year for sure.
Cool. So you're at vLex. If you could perhaps, well, first of all, can we find out a little bit more about you? And then the second part of that question will be, tell us about vLex.
Absolutely. So I've worked in technology all of my career. Worked at some big corporates in London, worked with, as my kind of Microsoft partners, background in data privacy, cybersecurity, those kind of things. I did a lot of work around helping law firms go remote through COVID.
Okay.
So moving outside of the fortress that is their office and securely allowing their practitioners to continue working from home. But about 3 years ago, I took on the role of head of APAC for vLex. vLex took on a lot of funding when AI came around to invest in kind of streamlining legal workflows from legal research to corporate and transactional capabilities and litigation preparation. And with that AI investment came the need to expand a bit more globally.
Okay.
With these products, you need a lot more hands on the ground. It's less, our background's publishing, right? We used to sell law reports. Someone either needs a law report or they don't. That's the end of a sales cycle. Whereas with AI, because it's such a new space, the role of the vendor has changed dramatically. I need to sit in the office with these practitioners, talk to them about the use cases they need to apply, the things that they're actually looking to achieve, and then we reverse engineer that back into products and features that they can then go and use. So we set up an APAC office 3 years ago. I moved to Bali.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's a hard life, hard gig, and I built the team there. And the whole business is remote. So we've got 500 people. We don't use offices anymore. Okay. Completely remote, but spend as much of our physical time as possible in person with our clients, having discussions around what do people want to see? What does the future of AI look like? And how do we take the onus off practitioners of having to be technology expert to be able to use them and just really listen to what can we do to help and how do we build that so it's user efficient.
So in the beginning part of introducing vLex, you talked about being a publisher. Yeah. So back in the day was just publishing law reports.
Publishing. We used to put law reports on CD, on floppy disk, and post them to
as vLex then as well.
So it was 3 separate organizations. vLex was Spanish headquarters, catering to Spain and South America.
Okay.
Then there was Justice Publishing, which was based in London, catering to common law country.
Yeah. So Canada,
Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then we also acquired most recently a company called Fastcase in the US.
Yep. Fastcase.
And basically integrated all of those legal documents onto one single platform. So 1 billion legal documents in one place. Tick the country you want, do your legal research, work out the legislation requirements. And then what essentially happened is we were invested in to build with AI, large language models, ChatGPT, a front end that allowed us, our users, to interrogate that information a bit more efficiently.
Okay, so you already had data sets yourself.
Yeah.
And then obviously using the publicly available information as well, you're able to kind of bring those like primary and secondary content together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of it's stuff that we source directly from the courts. Yep. Sometimes we license official series. Yep. So if you take a country like Singapore, for example, we partner with Singapore Academy of Law, and they provide us with their legal information. In New Zealand, we use the publicly available information from the court websites and things like that. And we just make a much simpler search engine to be able to interrogate it.
So not Boolean search, that type of thing. It's perhaps goes back to what you're saying about use case and getting to know how the practitioners operate, right? So,
absolutely.
So you're able to kind of deliver the way they want it to be delivered to them.
Yeah.
Specifically, like just customized.
I think one of the frustrations people have always had with legal research is in their personal life, they can jump on Google and ask a simple question, get a simple answer. If they're doing legal research, they have to kind of reverse engineer it into a Boolean search, brackets, asterisks. How do we navigate that in the way that people are used to interacting with technology? Yeah. That's a primary function. So function 1, research. Function 2, reviewing, drafting contracts, etc. So corporate and transactional. Yeah. And then because our history, we used to have a product called Just Cite, which was essentially providing a map of case relationships to help people in kind of litigious scenarios prepare for court.
Okay, we felt a workflow type of thing.
Yeah, it was like an interactive map that showed case histories and stuff. So it was really good for a barrister trying to paint a picture when preparing to go to court.
Okay.
So we had all of this underlying tagged up valuable information, which now is integrated with Vincent. So a big part of our market is barristers and litigators.
Okay.
And honestly, when it used to be publishing, it just used to be go and speak to people, see if they want to buy it. I spend half of my time now just interviewing practitioners and saying, what part of your job do you feel overqualified for? What takes the most of your time? And very simply, what part of your job do you not want to do anymore?
And would you say AI and the invention of AI as we know it today has enabled that because you can be all things to all people or at least have that impression of being all things to...
It's made the work a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Because every conversation you step into, you might think, oh, there's a barrister and there's a barrister. I'm going to have the two same conversations.
But it's very different.
We've got 2 million people using our platform and every single one of them has a slightly different story.
Sure.
I interviewed a barrister on Friday, actually. He was speaking at one of our events earlier in the week, but had to pull out because he couldn't be there in person. So I went and interviewed him. I said, right, just tell us how you use it. And he had come to us to talk about legal research 18 months ago. And just by using it for a year, the things that he now can do with wielding this platform when preparing for court, it's just completely transformed. And I love that. Our job is to analyze all the best technologies, bring them into a place alongside primary legal materials, but then hand over the keys with a bit of education so that people can apply it in the way that they want to do their work.
That's really interesting, interesting. So what about the future? Macro trends, global trends, maybe what you see in the Asia, Asia Pacific region or PAC region. And then how vLex will fit into that.
I think what we're seeing is obviously we have our pools of data that we've ran AI across. People don't want 10 different tools doing 10 different things. So integration is going to be huge this year. So you look at document management systems like iManage and the various kind of big providers in that space. They're doing an AI thing. We're doing an AI thing around primary law. But if you ask the law firm what they want, is they just want one place to go. Yeah. So the more that the vendors group together, have these conversations around how can we address more things together than silo things off, I think that's going to be a big space.
And not kind of try and own everything, right?
Yeah.
Be really good in your lane. But make sure that kind of works. And you said at the beginning of the conversation, that's really what LawFest is kind of. And I've been to LawFest a few years in a row now, and I can see it here. It's very, very different this year than other years. There is this much more collegial. There's much more conversations going on. I was chatting with Dennis Wade at InfoTrack earlier on, and he said he's been chatting with another firm that they're going to try and integrate their software in there. And I think that's really important, and really, this podcast is all about trying to bring all of these different people within the legal industry together, at least to educate them what's there, so we can hopefully provide that kind of front end to clients, because that's what's important.
I think that's it. I think communication between vendors is really important, and just communication from users to vendors, because we can all do so much with AI now, but it's working out what do you actually want us to do? Where do we focus, and how do we move forward
and
together?
Where's the value,
It's just a much more collaborative space to work in. I love it as a kind of people person who loves rolling up their sleeves with the client and getting involved. It's the ideal landscape to actually build some things. Like one of the features on the platform got built because a barrister rang me on a Sunday and needed something on a Monday.
Right.
And he said, Dan, can Vincent do this? And I said, no, but maybe me, you and Vincent can.
No.
And we just got to work on Sunday afternoon and managed to make 10 hours work 3 hours. And then 2 weeks later, we'd given that back to the development team in London. They'd refined it, made it better. And suddenly we've got something that all barristers can use. Yeah. And it's just that's an environment I want to work in.
Yeah, no, indeed.
It's a really cool space.
Okay, awesome. Dan, thank you for your...
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Cheers, mate.
Okay.
Thank you.